Hello everyone, welcome to the online chess course. In this first video, we'll cover the basic chess principles. It means we'll go through the chessboard, piece movements, and then we'll continue to the more advanced levels. So first thing we need to know that in chess we have black and white. The point of game is to win, and well, the win is the way how we can checkmate an opponent. We'll talk about it later. And also the opponent can resign. It means when the position is completely lost and one side doesn't see a point to continue, he can just resign to congratulate your opponent and finish the game. And the third result is the draw. It means nobody wins. We have like half a point each. Normally it can come like we do agree on a draw, so one can offer, and well, if the other side accepts, we have a draw. And also there are some special things like to the contrary of this checkmate, we have a stalemate. It means it means also draw, and we also will see that later. So first we do have, as you can see on the board, we have numbers and letters. Letters define the columns and numbers define the rows. So we can have a column which name is A, and it goes all the way till the end to the H. So B column, C column, and so on. And the same is for rows. We have the first rank, second rank, third rank, and so on. So like every square is defined by a row, like this, and the column. But the letter comes first. So if the pawn moves here, we have the pawn is on the A3 square. But we'll talk about that later. Notation is not that important. So now we do need to see the difference in the pieces. We have 8 pawns and 8 different stronger pieces. So these guys are called pawns. We have 8 of them, and then we also have a rook, a knight, a bishop, queen, king, and well, bishop, knight, rook. So we have a pair of rook, we have a pair of knights, and a pair of bishops. Totally we have 16 pieces, and the opponent has the same amount of pieces. According to the amount of pieces, we know that from the start we have an equal position, like white have the same amount of pieces and black have the same amount of pieces, and thus we just need to outplay the opponent, checkmate him, win the material, and so on. But this is kind of a more advanced version, so we'll talk about it later. First we need to know how do these guys move, how can we make something interesting from this position, what can we do? So we'll move forward to the pawn. Okay, so on the position now we do have pawns, right? So we have 2 white pawns and 2 black pawns. As we can see, some of them are on the same line, right? So we do have a pawn on the same line, and also we have a pawn on the almost the same line, but it will just help us to see how can the pawn move. There are different types of movements in chess. We can just move. We can take, like to eliminate the opponent's piece, and we can also promote. Rather like special kind of moves that only several like specific type of pieces can do. And well, now we talk about the pawn. The pawn is one of the most basic pieces in chess because we do evaluate everything in pawns. It means every piece has its value, and we do evaluate the position according to the number of pawns. So like if we have +1, it means we have a +1 pawn. But it means the pawn is just 1 point, so pawn equals to 1 point, and we do calculate everything in pawns. But let's see how the pawn moves. Pawn can move only forwards, and this is the only piece that can move only forwards. Other pieces can move backwards as well. And normally we just go like this. Pawn can go just one way forward, and also at the end of the chessboard, when it gets to the last rank, it can promote. But let's move. Let's go on continuously, and we will try to figure out that not only the simple forward move is available for the pawn. It means on the first rank, like the first rank, the pawn starts like the originate rank. The pawn has a specific move, and well, it depends what do you want. You can start like a normal one, like e3 is possible, just one move. But on the first rank, the pawn can also jump. This is the unique move that only pawn can do. The jump like from the original square, but it only once you can do that. Once you've done a move with a pawn, doesn't matter if it's just a 1 square or a 2 squares jump, then we can just move one way, like afterward the pawn can just go here. And it is the same for all the pieces, all the pawns of white and black. Like every rule is the same for two sides. So well, if so, it means if you go e3 on the first move, then we can't jump, right? So, and it doesn't matter what do we do. It means we can go b4 first, but then we just go, we can just go one square. This is a very important thing. And also we have to figure out that the pawn can take, because the most of the pieces can take in the direction of the movement. Vice versa, the pawn cannot. The pawn can take just to the diagonal. Whatever it is, we can just take to the diagonal to one square. And this is how, well, the pawn moves. So, for example, we can just try to move for the pawn first. Now, after the white moves, black, it's black turn. So black moves forward. For example, let's go for a jump, for the first possible jump. And here, try to figure out, can we take the pawn? Can we have this specific type of movements? Yes, we can. So white to move, white can not just move forward like the normal pawn can do, but we also can take the opponent's pawn. And the very important rule, when we take the opponent's piece, we just eliminate from the chessboard and put our piece to the square of the opponent's piece. Well, and after the taking the piece, we can move to the promotion. Very important, chess movement, a promotion, a specific one, a unique one, just available for the pawn. It means when the pawn, well, in a lot of moves, I'm not sure how many would you need, and every game is specific, but if the pawn during the game reaches the 8th rank, right? Now we have the 8th rank, and we have an option now to transform our pawn into the better piece. We can promote into the queen, into the rook, and into the bishop or knight. Sadly, we cannot promote into the king, and also we cannot stay as a pawn when we promote. So like, let's say now white promoted the queen, which is the stronger piece, but we'll see why this piece is stronger. Okay, so this is like almost all the chess movements we do have, but there is one more very important movement, which is not that frequent, but it does happen. It does happen a lot in some openings, in some specific positions. So it is called en passant. It is a French word for the movement. And let's see how does it work. So imagine it applies only for the jump. So now you can see, for example, if in this position it is black to move, and black decides to move this pawn, the d pawn, not for one square like this, because black thinks, oh, if I move here, what can we do? White can just take, right? And we like win a pawn. But then black decides, okay, but I can jump this square. So like I will choose the jump here, so I won't use it anymore, because, well, this is the only possible way to jump. And black will jump. And this is kind of a movement which is called en passant. White can just take the pawn, even though the pawn is not on the square of the range of the white pawn, but we still can take, because this is kind of the rule, which is called en passant. So if we jam the square, which is taken, which is controlled by the white, we can just take. But it only applies for the jump and only for the pawns. Otherwise, we can't do, because it looks more like a checkers move. So d5 and en passant. You can also check the same for black. So like if this pawn would be situated on c4 and white will try to jump right, we can take it. It's en passant move. We'll get more familiar to this move later, but this is the thing you need to know and try to get used to it. So to sum up, the pawn can move only forward. We cannot go backwards. When we reach the 8th rank for white, or the same, the 1st rank for black, we can promote the pawn into the stronger piece. The pawn can move just forward on the first original square. We can even jump like 2 squares. Our pawn can only take to the diagonal, and yeah, we have this specific en passant move. Okay, now that was the pawn.